on stage already, but here I am. Good to be here. But first up, I'm going to ask all of you to follow my instructions very carefully, okay? Follow my instructions. Whoever has used YouTube, can you please stand up? Not bad, not bad. And for the ones who are sitting, there's a time machine outside which will take you back to 200 BC. Now that I have all of your attention, let me get started. And for those of you who are still standing, well, good job. And for all of you who've sat down, I never asked you to sit down. Anyway, let's go back about 13, 14 years when I was in class 10. I was so good at math that I scored a 16, not out of 20, but out of 80. Can you believe it? 16 on 80. And that's when realization hit me that, there's only one way that I can go from here is like upward, right? I had to get better at math. So then I took the first step. I started tuition for the first time in my life. I never did tuition, showing clearly I should have taken it before, but I started tuition for the first time in my life. And it was horrible. It was humiliating. Imagine going for 10 standard math tuition, that too for the biggest exam at that point in your life, the board exam. And you're among your peers who are doing so well. They're breezing past math problems, and you're just sitting there wondering what's even going on. Everything's going above my head. It was humiliating. But then I didn't let that stop me. I worked really hard. I, in fact, worked so hard that I've actually got a pen collection. I've got a pen collection of all the pens I used. I'm going to show you. Thank you. There's more. Imagine all of these falling in slow motion. Each and every refill getting over. And one eternity later, we go back to right after about 6 months later. It's right after my board exam. I'm in the boys' washroom, crying, howling. I was literally kicking the wall because I was not getting 100. You know how much I scored in my 10th standard board exam? Sorry, my bad. That's how much I scored. I've given away the next slide, but 2 years later, I got another shot. And you guys already know how much I scored. It's not bad by engineer standards, right? Or at least I hope so. But it took me 2.5 years to go from a 16 on 80 through a lot of work, through a lot of support, through my family, because of course I wasn't paying any bills and they could pay for my math tuition and whatnot. But it took me 2.5 years to go from a 16 on 80, which is 20%, all the way up to a 95%. What do you think got me there? Any guesses? Absolutely. Persistence. Great stuff. Well done, DCT. But then, if I speak about my chemistry or my science, it's just hilarious. I kicked those things away at my 10th standard board exam. That science paper was the last science paper that I gave. I gave up. Because I just felt like it wasn't my cup of tea. So not everybody has great math stories to talk about. People give up, right? Why do people give up? In my opinion, the first one is survival. When you're in college, when you're in school, you're mostly not worried about, who's paying the bills, etc. But after a point, it gets difficult. You have to pay your bills, right? You have to eat your food. You have to have a roof over your head. But then there are people who manage to get past those things. Who? Do we know who this is? I guess. He, for the longest time in his life, worked as a bus conductor in Bangalore. He survived. And then he took his passion, went to Chennai, learnt acting, bettered his skill. He survived and then pursued his passion to be one of the biggest driving around in Lamborghinis, right? Pretty cool. Next, immediate gratification. It's like, why should I make a 30-second reel when I can make a 3-second reel now, right? Like, it's so quick, so snappy. In fact, when I started making videos, I would get like 4 views, and 2 of those views from best friends. But that's not the worst part. I had 10 best friends. What is going on, right? You feel, but that was, day 3, day 4. It's been more than 2.5 years now, and things are very different. It takes time for things to become good, for things to become great. It takes time. And here's a prime example of that. So much money. You guys know this man? Yeah, of course. His passion has always been stand-up comedy. He moved from Malaysia all the way to the UK to pursue his education, and he spent 10 years from 2010 until 2020 going to the smallest of pubs, going to the smallest of comedy clubs. He spent 10 years figuring all of that out. Would anybody know of this character before 2020? Absolutely not. During the pandemic, he came up with the uncle character. And now it's been just 4 years. He's got 9 million subscribers, almost 5 million followers on Instagram. He's a huge thing, right?
What he say?
Right?
What he say?
Right? But it took him 10 years, guys. So things don't happen very quickly. Moving on. External pressure, right? You have to deal with external pressure. Trust me, especially I feel like we grew up being talked about, hey, look at what Sharma ji's son has done, or who this one has done, or that one's done. And again, I've got a good example. I hope you guys will be able to recognize this person. Who's the right arm quick from Hyderabad? Exactly. Right? He used to play tennis ball cricket for the longest time. He always got compared, even at home, saying, your elder brother is an engineer. What are you doing? You know what he says? Avagardi. But then, look at him now. Started with club cricket, had to take in pressure not just at home, but also through otherwise when he started his cricket. And even when he made it to the big stage, this guy gets hit for like 40, 50 runs in a T20 match. It's not easy. But who's he now? He's a World Cup winner. He is what the Indian team picks to get started, right? Isn't that great? Let's move on. Burnout. To do too much, too quickly, right? You take up too much work for yourself. Exam is coming a month from now. Oh, we've got so much time. But then we wait till the last 2 days. And then you take up so much to do. And what happens? You stay up all night before the exam, and then you go to the exam, you're burnt out. How will you get those marks? And I've got another example. Oh, it's me. People keep telling me, people from different organizations where I post videos, etc., tell me that you should do 30 videos in a month. You should do one video every day. The fact of the matter is, if I did a video every day, I wouldn't be here. I work with what I'm comfortable, to which extent I can push myself. It's important for all of you to realize that as well. If you can do X in 30 days' time, you don't jump to 2X the next month, right? You should try and push yourself to do 1.1, 1.2. Figure out what works best for you. Having said that, fear of failure. I don't think I'm capable of doing this. I'm sure that as a thought, it's crossed me multiple times. Another example over here. Oh, I have to come up with one right now. The most subscribed YouTuber. You know who? Exactly. He started. It took him 5 years before he did anything. The first video that went viral for him was where he sat down and he counted from 1 to 1 lakh. But before that, he uploaded hundreds of videos. I'm not even kidding. Hundreds of videos. Did he have fear of failure? Of course he did. But he still kept going. Correct? Correct? Even now, hearsay, he makes a 12-minute video. The first 6 minutes are really good. And the next 6 minutes are not good. So what he does, he accesses the video. But he's willing to take that risk. He's willing to try it out, which is what is important, right? So many people, they've done so much. I'm sure even you can. And on that note, I just want to say thank you very much. No, don't worry. I'm not that useless also. I'll give you something to take home, right? You're here for something. So the question is, why are you here? Obviously, to meet me. Again, I screwed that joke up, but obviously to meet me. But moving on, let's speak about, we spoke about so many people and how they've done it. But you can turn around and say, you know, how do I do it? When does realization hit me? You were so bad at math that obviously it had to hit you. But what about me? I don't know. It hasn't hit me. In fact, let's not even call it realization. Let's call it identify your calling. A lot of you people growing up, right? Budding at this point in time in your life, I would say there are two ways to go about it. One is you've already figured that you are passionate about something, right? For me, it's eating. Like I love eating. But what if you don't? So the question is either you go behind your passion, or if you don't know what you're passionate about, you do a process of elimination, right? What I mean by that is try different things, try things which interest you. And when you start doing it, some of them won't feel like a chore, won't feel like work. It'll come to you naturally. You'll have fun doing it. And that's how you get closer to your calling. If you already know, fabulous. But if you don't, do a process of elimination. And then the next step is your support system, right? Now again, you will have family for support, you will have friends for support, you will have financial support, or you might not. It's important for you to realize where you are and what you have, right? So what do you do? What is that? Thank God you didn't get the other word here. I mean, if you are, then please get your head out of the gutter. Assess your situation, see where you are. And then there are three ways, in my opinion. One is you're already in a position where you can follow your passion. Two is you're in a position where you have to survive, but you've got enough going on that you can also do your passion on the side. And the last thing is you need to focus on your survival. So put all of your efforts into surviving. If you're spending 12 hours a day surviving, bring that down to 8 so that the other 4 you can first put to figuring out what your passion is and then follow your passion, right? So it's important to know about your support system and where you stand. Yeah, moving on. Then you start your work. And when you start something, it might seem like, oh my God, this is so much work. If I had to think about making a video, thinking about what do I call the what should the thumbnail look like, what should the title look like, where do I go and shoot, there is so much to do. But then you take those baby steps. You take one step at a time, break it down, make it tiny, right? And every time you finish one and you put a tick, that will give you confidence to take the next step. And when you start this, you're not, of course, there's an outcome that you're thinking about. But what do you have to do? What is that you have to build for yourself? You hear famous cricketers say it. It's not about the outcome. It's about the. Why do famous people say it? It's because they. Oh, sorry. It's about the process. Someone switch on those TVs, yeah. Anyway, it's about the process, right? Now, why do famous people say it? Is because they've taken care of the process. They focus on the process, and that leads to good outcomes. So, build yourself a process. How do you go about doing that? Learn. You learning. Get as much knowledge, not just about what you're passionate about, in general. If you have to survive, learn as much as possible. Fill yourself up to learn as much as possible. Like for me, breaking my channel down into pre-production, thinking about where to shoot, what to shoot, doing the production, and then post-production of editing and uploading and all of that, all happened over the last 2.5 years. The first time when I did it, of course it was difficult. The first 50 times I did it, I didn't like it was, I was figuring out so many different things. But another thing that happens when you keep doing things again and again and again, this persistence is also backed by science. Your brain, something called neuroplasticity, which happens. When you learn something, you're continuously rewiring your brain. And the more and more you do it, it becomes easier. To give you a small or maybe even like a very simple example, is the first time when you learn to make dal, complicated. But when you make it 100 times, you don't have to look at the recipe, do you? So your brain keeps rewiring itself. And most of you guys here are engineers. Yes? Did you ever think that a commerce grad will tell you about neuroplasticity? Anyway, the next thing is control what you can. And I'm going to give you an example to explain this. It's easier said than done, but that match, correct, that match. 2023 final, the big T20 competition that happens. I'm there. The first day gets washed out. And this is when I've embarked on DCD Eats. The channel is picked up, it's going viral. I'm doing cricket stadium food reviews. The entire match gets washed out. There's no match. What was in my control? Go to the stadium, sit, wait, food is available, eat, record myself. I came back. And then I was thinking, should I? Should I not? I said, of course you should. And I did. I made a video out of it. The next day, while I was at the match, YouTube gives you a rank of last 10 videos of, which is performing the best. It was number one. Little did I know. But what is the one thing that I did? I controlled what I could. So do whatever's in your control. And that will give you the best possible result, right? Talking of which, then we move to dealing with pressure. And pressure is external or internal. Internal, I feel like we've already spoken about. It's by controlling whatever you can, is how you figure out your internal pressure, right? And dealing with external pressure is all about one, not giving in. If I had to think about my friends and what they're doing with their lives and what I was doing, it took a year and a half for me to get to 1,500 subscribers, which is nothing, right? But it took me a year and a half to get there. And but I didn't give in to the pressure. I focused on what I could. I shut myself off and I focused on my work, learned as much as possible, and I was able to get to the next stage. Very, very important. I know we've already spoken about it, but failure is what will teach you. You don't become extremely successful without seeing failure. Anyone, film stars, movies flop. Cricketers, Virat Kohli, I mean, of course, he's been duck out, right? Failures keep happening, but it is how much you get to learn from those failures. And ensure that they don't happen in the future is what sort of gives you that edge. The world's biggest YouTuber, I remember watching him when I had 100 subscribers, and he said, make 100 videos. You'll fail at them, but make one improvement every single time. And then you take a call if you want to continue or not. Every time, of course, I kept failing, but I wanted a small improvement. Thankfully for me, 50 videos in, couple of them went viral, and I'm happily doing what I am right now. Right? Just one last thing I would like to leave you with is be grateful, keep learning, put in the work. Without work, you'll get to nowhere. Put in the work, and you'll go from struggle to strength, and then to strength to strength. Thank you so much, everyone. That's my time.